How to be more productive. Hi, my name is Dr. Meghana Dikshit. I'm the author of the book You Matter and Brain and Performance Expert. Today's topic is how to be more productive. What is productivity? See, we all have 24 hours, right? Every person on this planet doesn't have more than 24 hours. Then what happens that few people are extremely productive in their 24 hours and majority of the people are struggling with their time? What happens in your mind? How are you disorganized that you're not able to manage the same 24 hours that makes some people extremely successful and some people struggle in life? So let's dive deeper in understanding what happens in your mind for you to become unproductive or disorganized. But before we start, you know the drill. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon and type ready in the chat box so that we can begin on this topic of productivity. So I have seen myself in my life that for the longest period of my life, I have been procrastinating and being really disorganized and really unproductive, wasting a lot of time and a lot of energy on unnecessary thoughts that are coming in my mind. And a lot of you are struggling with this, isn't it? What are you struggling with? Like for me, overthinking was a big struggle. What is your struggle? Anxiety, fears, self-doubt, confusion. What keeps coming up in your mind? See, on an average, all of us get more than 70,000 thoughts every single day. Now, all of our thoughts are coming from somewhere, right? Most of our thoughts come from the preconceived notions or assumptions or the experiences that we have had in our life. In 24 hours, 90% of our thoughts are the same thoughts that you have had yesterday, day before, a week back, or even a year or 2, 3, 5 years back. So only 5 to 10% of your thoughts out of 70,000 are the new thoughts, right? And these new thoughts are probably coming from your goal setting. They're probably coming from some new information that's coming in your space. Let's be honest. We are living in an information age. There are so much information available everywhere. Anytime, any social media app you open up, somebody or someone is giving you some gyan that is making you realize something new, or maybe you're discovering something new all the time. And most of this 10% of the thoughts are coming from this new information that we gather. Now, however, we all live in great information and we are having so much going on around us, and there are so many people, those who are creating great success stories in their life. Even though you have access to the similar or same information, why do you struggle with overthinking or unproductivity? So let's dive deeper to understand, first of all, what is exactly happening in your space. Out of these 70,000 thoughts, how many of your thoughts are negative thoughts? Now, you will say, but Dr. Meghana, I have subscribed to your channel and you know what, I also do a lot of meditation, I practice positive thinking and all of that stuff. I get it. I know you are someone who's more aware person than the other people those are in the world, and that's why you're on this channel. But think about it. If you have to think positive, consciously think positive through meditation or journaling or maybe, doing all sorts of goal setting or writing, things like that, or formations, etc., then are you really a positive person? Hear me out again. If you have to think positive, then are you really positive? You got it, right? So if you have to think positive, majority of your day goes into negative thinking, and this negative thinking is on automation. You don't want to think negative, but it just keeps coming up because you know what? Our thoughts are like chain. After one thought, there is another and there is another and there is another. If you indulge in a thought and you give attention to it, it's going to bring in another thought of the similar kind. That's what your reptilian brain does. Now, if you don't know what the reptilian brain is or why these thoughts are coming up, I want you to quickly click on the link on my overthinking video where you can actually get more insights of why are you overthinking, why are these thoughts coming on negative automation. Now, let's understand. Just because you have a thought, your brain is just sending you an information related to something that's happening around you. Maybe something that's happening around you in terms of the challenges that you're facing every day. Or maybe your environment has some triggers that are making you think like that. Or maybe there is somebody, or maybe there is some experience that you're going through or you've gone through in the past. These thoughts are coming to you. Now, most of the times, if you look at your mind, And if you see yourself running into the direction of negative thought, or whether the negative thinking is often overpowering you, I want you to understand something. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean that's the truth. Type in the chat box. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. When you succumb to this flurry of thoughts, the negative thoughts especially, what happens in your space? You start feeling bad. Recently, a study done at the National Institute of Aging, which has proven that you don't just feel bad or don't just feel guilty because you think negative, but it is actually bad for your body. It puts you in the chronic stress, and the chronic stress can cause a lot of other disorders and diseases in your body that can be really detrimental as you grow in your age. It's very important for us to understand that disorganized mind can actually cause a lot more damage than just overthinking or anxiety. You make impulsive judgments. Angrily, you rush into a closure. You are robbed of your sense of humor or your ability to be more flexible in challenging situations. You kind of do not want to get into the unknown because you know that you don't have the ability to deal with that unknown. And let's be honest, if you keep doing the same things again and again, you're going to produce the same results again and again. Like Einstein has said, the definition of insanity is doing the same things again and again and expecting different results, isn't it? So all of this is happening because of your disorganized mind. Now let's take the people, those who are extremely productive in their 24 hours. What do they happen? What happens in their mind? Well, their mind is very organized and that goes into a flow state. Now what's a flow state? Let's understand this, okay? Flow state is a state where you are producing the results that you want. You are into a zone where you are able to provide solutions. You are doing the same work that others might take 2 hours in 20 minutes. Flow state is extremely productive state of your brain. There are 5 waves in your brain. Beta, which is extremely alert state, that is also a focus state, but this alert state and a focus state is of hyper state, which is, you're scared, there is some danger and you need to run or fight. Then comes the state of relaxation, which is an alpha state, which is more of like when you're in space of meditation, or maybe you're relaxing, or maybe you're preparing to sleep. Theta state is a state where you are in the zone of reprogramming your mind. Then comes the delta state. Delta state is a state when you're actually fast asleep. And then is a state of gamma. Gamma is a flow state where you are extremely productive, you're extremely focused, and this is also a very fast wave in your brain, but this is a different kind of fast wave. The geniuses have been seen to have this kind of a state very often. You're calm, you're composed, but at the same time, you have great ability to solve the problems in faster and much effective way. Flow state is extremely blissful state where you enjoy your work. It just feels that the time is passing by and you're just not worried about anything happening around you, but you're fully immersed into the work at hand. And it's a beautiful state where you actually accomplish a lot more than otherwise you would. See, all 24 hours working and being productive is impossible for a human brain. But even if you are productive in your, say, 3 hours or 4 hours in 24 hours, you will accomplish much more than the rest of the world. So let's dive deeper to understand how can you organize your mind to get into the flow state. If you're ready, type ready in the chat box. Step 1 is finding the right amount of challenge. What do I mean by that? If you draw a graph X and Y, one side is the challenge, the other side is your skill, right? Now, if your task is very much leaning towards the challenge, then it's going to create anxiety because your skill-wise, you're not able to cope up with the amount of challenge this particular action is producing. On the contrary, if you are greatly skilled, but your task in hand is leaning more towards the skill and less challenging, then it's going to produce boredom. Now see how your brain functions. Whether you get bored of something or whether you're getting extremely anxious of something. In both these places, your brain is going to just go into the freeze or fight mode. It's not going to allow you to enjoy that work because it's like as if tiger chasing you. But if you see the challenge and the skill, in center of this graph, there is a state of flow that is achieved by the right amount of balance. Balance in the challenge and the skill set. It's very essential to understand that what kind of a skill you have and how much challenge will make you feel excited about solving that problem. See, a lot of times people get into the fear of, what if I don't do this and what if I'll be left behind? And most of the people either exaggerate the challenge in front of them and they get into the fear, or they underestimate the challenge in front of them and they get complacent. Whether you get extremely fearful or whether you get extremely complacent, either ways your brain is going to go into the fight and flight mode and it's not going to allow you to give an optimum, best possible potential of yours. Step 2. Take control of your emotions. While it's impossible to control how the things make you feel, but it's absolutely in control how you react to those things, right? So what happens anytime a trigger comes in your space? Your mind perceives it in a certain way, and the reference point comes from the past experience. So if suppose something made you feel hurt and the similar kind of experience is this task is building up, you're again going to bring up those same emotions that you felt in the past. So anger, disappointment, sadness, anxiety, all of these emotions are coming in your space because the task in your hand is making you feel connected to your deeper wounds and whatever has happened in your past. Now the key here is to identify what is your exact emotion that you're feeling and why are you feeling it. See, when the emotions are mysterious and you don't understand the feelings, they are going to cause more havoc in your space because your logical mind doesn't understand it. But the moment you isolate an emotion and you understand you label that emotion and you understand where it is coming from, your brain will have more ability to deal with it constructively. And the moment you isolate and label that emotion, your brain will come with the ideas for you to cope up with that emotion in more constructive way, and it will alter your behavior in that moment for you to take care of the reactions that may be coming up with these triggers. Step 3. Sustaining your focus. If you're someone who would like to know how to sustain your focus, type focus in the chat box because now I'm going to talk about a different method to sustain your focus to get into the flow state. Now, most of the times you must have heard this that our distraction is so high today in the human brain that we get distracted like goldfish in just 3 seconds or 5 seconds, right? So how do you sustain your focus? And this is a method which is very interesting method, and I have personally tried it out to see if I build the flow state. Now see, it's very simple. What you need to do here is, so even though I said that human brain does not have the ability to focus more than 3 to 5 seconds because of all the social media and internet that's going on in our life, what I want you to do in this activity, just test it out, okay? Just put all your phone, all your gadgets, all your social media, email on one side, out of the room, isolate yourself for 20 minutes, put a mark of 20 minutes like a clock alarm of 20 minutes if you need to, and sit with the task in hand. Now, most likely for the first 20 minutes, you may not do anything productive, okay? But it is said that once you cross the 20-minute mark and if there is no distraction around you, your brain will slowly start producing the flow state that is required for the task in hand to be accomplished. It's a very, very beautiful state to get in, and I personally use this technique a lot. So are you going to use the 20-minute mark technique here? Put 20-minute mark in the chat box and let me know. Okay, it's a very interesting technique. Please share it with somebody. Maybe you can share this video and talk to them and tell them that, you know what, let's do this together. Not in the same room, of course, because otherwise you'll end up talking. But maybe, you know, in respective space, you can do this as an experiment. Like you can choose 2, 3, 5 people in your group and do this as an experiment where you together isolate yourself separately in different rooms for 20 minutes and see if you get more productive after the 20 minutes mark. Now, even though you tried the 20 minutes mark step, and if you feel that you got that increased productivity, great. But if you want to know a little more details about how to increase your focus, go to my video where I talk about step-by-step ways to increase your focus. Now let's go on to the step number 4. Step number 4 is about taking breaks. Now I know for some of you it's very hard, it's very difficult to take that break, right? Like especially if you're raised in an environment where you were told that resting, taking break, having fun is not good, it's wasting a lot of time. And you build a lot of guilt now that resting means you're lazy or procrastinating, or maybe you are feeling guilty of taking that break. I would just want to tell you something here, that I was also raised in such an environment where taking break means you're good for nothing. You are wasting a lot of time where you can do more and you can be more productive. So my suggestion here is, I know how it feels, but the moment I started taking frequent breaks, like it depends on you. How often do you need to take the break? Now, as you're training your brain to cross the 20 minutes mark and get into more and more productivity, maybe it could be 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, totally depends on you how long your flow state lasts. Now for me, my flow state can last anywhere between 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Now I know after the 45-50 minutes, my brain is not going to function as it was earlier. So then for me, I take a small break. The break could be 5 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes depending on how difficult the task in hand is. So you can take those small breaks in between your productive hours to just recharge your brain. Now what do you do in between those breaks that you take? Now you can quickly go for a walk in the nature, or maybe you can listen to a nice soothing music. Maybe you can just walk around the house or your office, or maybe you can, if you feel that you would like to do some push-up, pull-ups or jumping jacks. It's entirely up to you how you utilize your 10 to 15 minutes of break. My suggestion is, don't go on the social media, because there is another rabbit hole that opens up when you go on the social media. Your brain is now, it's like, think about it this way, okay? You're working on something and your brain is like building the constructive blocks, like creating a foundation for a building. Now, as soon as you go on the social media, those foundational blocks or the bricks just go separate and they collapse. Now, every time you come back from social media, you're building those blocks again. So you're wasting a lot of time in that. So my suggestion is, do something that doesn't hamper or doesn't come in the way of building the blocks of your next breakthrough time. Once you have done 1, 2, 3, 4, now is the step number 5, where you're retraining your brain to be more conscious and more aware about your thoughts. How do you become more conscious and aware about your thoughts? By maybe doing meditation, maybe doing the breathing exercises, maybe just sitting and just observing the thoughts that are passing by. And just, maybe there is another way to do this, is writing the journal about your thoughts. Generally, like you don't need to write particularly something. Just pick up a time, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time you want to pick up a journal and a book and start writing every thought that comes to you. It's a great way to detach with the thoughts, training your brain to observe them and be more conscious about your thoughts. You don't need to read the journal again. It doesn't have to be anything productive. It can be all bakwas, all mess that's coming out of your mind. But you are training your brain to be more observant of what's going on. And the more you start training your brain to be conscious and aware of your thoughts, the more you will experience your thoughts will start automatically going down. Understand something. Human brain is capable of so much more. And you are capable of so much more, right? The only thing is, how do you tame this dragon? It's very important for you to understand how do you tame this dragon so that you ride on the dragon and the dragon doesn't ride you. So please understand, if you want to train yourself to be more productive, of course it's a trainable skill. People are not born with productivity. We are just born to drink milk and poop and pee. That's it. We are not born to be who we want to be today. Everything that you are doing right now is a training that is given to your brain consciously or unconsciously. So now being more conscious is only going to help your brain to be more productive and more organized. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up in the chat box, share it with at least 10 people, and I'll see you next time.